Lagos State United.
What you can see is the remaining.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
This is Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa, the show that brings you up to speed with everything happening in the world of sports. I've got Helema Davies on the show today, and he is the head product innovation to Reports Limited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, then, of course, you can watch us on StarTime channel 308 and channel 528. And, of course, you can also catch us online at www.plustvafrica.com. Follow us on social media at Plus TV Africa on Instagram and Twitter. And, of course, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Plus TV Africa. Let's start off with the game between Nigeria and the Benin Republic. The Super Eagles of Nigeria kicked off their race to qualify for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations Championship in Cameroon with a win against the Squirrels of Benin Republic. Sessegnon scored the first goal for Benin in the 3rd minute, but Leo striker Victor Osimhen, the one we call the star boy, he pulled one back for Nigeria from the penalty spot in the dying moments of the first half. And Samuel Kalu scored from a brilliant effort in the 63rd minute to give Nigeria the lead. And Ahmed Musa came in for Victor Osimhen towards the end of the game. Now, this game between Nigeria and Benin Republic, yes, it was a must-win for the Super Eagles. We had a lot of rumors concerning the coach and the NFF concerning selection of players. There was also the issue of coverage of the match. A whole lot of good sides and bad sides to this game between Nigeria and Benin. I'd like to get your own opinion and your own view of everything that happened yesterday.
To start with, it is really commendable that the Super Eagles did start off on a very good note, winning the game against Benin Republic. It's unfortunate, however, that, like you mentioned, we had those instances, particularly that as regards Raw, his time as coach, rumors, speculations here and there, indicating that his time as the head of the Super Eagles is running down. But it's one which we don't want to see. Of course, there are question marks about his tactics, his tactical play, the technical performance of the team as a whole. But we must commend Raw, if at all, for one particular key element, and that is the fact that is his man management style. It has really helped to ensure stability within the team, within the camp, across board, and in that interrelationship among the players. We hardly hear of squabbles or one misunderstanding here and there, like we've seen in recent past. So that is one aspect that has to be commended on the part of Raw in view of his time as head coach of the Super Eagles.
Now, still looking at that game, we can as well talk about the coverage. I mean, if you're going to cover a football match, you know that it's going to be a football match on that particular day. Why not put in your best effort to make sure that you give it the best of coverage? Because yesterday, from what we saw all over Twitter, all over social media, the football fans hammered on the TV station that covered the football match, and it was not good enough. But kudos to them that they even tried to put up a coverage for this match, but was the job even well done? Even at the end of the game, the commentator, that's the major one trending on Twitter now, the commentator said, Super Eagles 2, Nigeria 1.
I mean... It was all a comedy show for last night game. It was more of a comedy show than even a game of football.
Match, yeah.
You know, yesterday, no thanks to the coverage from the NTA. I think the whole setting to this is not just about granting some media right or broadcast right to one major broadcaster, you know, but it's down to the need of structure.
Yeah.
We don't have a broadcast structure that would guarantee or ensure, you know, competitive bidding or competitive interests for broadcasting of our games, and that needs to change. So it's even not just about the NFF. It's yes, the NFF has its role to play, but it's a lot to do with the broadcast code that this nation has on the table. It's dysfunctional, to say the least. It's not helpful. It's not competitive driven. And that in itself will not even influence or in any way positively affect the performance or the overall growth of our sports. So it's down to the broadcast code, you know, that would identify key players, you know, that would ensure competition, not just the issuance of the rights to one broadcast company, but competition that would at least we see stations like that we have across the world where one broadcaster can have rights to highlights. You know, another broadcaster has rights to the full match. Now, these are things that we want to see happening in our own culture, but we don't have that at the moment, and that is stifling the growth of our sports from the media point of view. So it really is important that we get to have a look at our broadcast code, but particularly we need to have a broadcast code that addresses sports, not necessarily captured within the broader context of television view, but sports in particular. There needs to be something that can drive that competition and ensure that players can come on board, something that will even give birth to more indigenous companies to come on board and participate. We can do what other broadcasters are doing on the continent. We can, once we have that environmental condition provided and open up for us to play in.
Talking about marketability of our sports, of our football not just football now, sports in general in the country. I mean, quick question now, from what we saw yesterday, do you think the VAR, the video assistant referee, can work in the Nigerian Professional Football League? Right now, no, it can't work. I mean, it's not just a good one. But then the coach, talking about Gernot Rohr, he had words to talk about. He had what to say after that game, talking about the press conference after the game between Nigeria and Benin Republic. Let's listen to Gernot Rohr, and of course, the coach of the Benin Republic side.
It has given more confidence to Nigeria in second half. It was very hard. We didn't. We have been wasting many balls when we win it. So we have given the ball all the time to Nigeria, and at one time our players were able to make difference. So it was a case. So in the end, we have tried to recover and to be back in the game. We have an opportunity in the end of the game. So that's a defeat. We know it's logical. There is a difference between Nigeria and Benin. But okay, we have fought as much as we can.
We are happy about this victory. We knew already before the match that it would be very difficult because Benin has one of the best organizations defensively. And they made the quarterfinal also in the AFCON, and we saw them playing. They eliminated Morocco. They have a very, very good team. But when you play after arriving, after a long traveling, for some players even the last night traveling and have to play, so it's not easy, and they need some time to come in the match. Unfortunately, there was this first goal coming very quickly, and that was a shock for my team, and we had to recover from this shock. But with the time and with our technical attitude, which was very good, we were able to make them tired. And in second half, then, after this penalty, who were coming in the best moment to come in the halftime with this 1-1. Then in the second time, we played a good match, like we did in our last matches already. We have now a style of playing football, which is very interesting. A lot of movement, one touch, two touch, quick wingers, young players. And I think that in the second half, we even could score a third goal. But I'm happy about this 2-1. When you start the game with 0-1 and then you come back and win it, it's very interesting for the team. And you go crescendo in the match. That is always good. I'm happy to see also that the two changes I made since Brazil game, bringing in Ola Aina and Kalu, these two players did very well also. So it's good for the team to know that even other players can come. There is competition for the starting positions, and this is very good for us.
Welcome back to the show. We have a word from Gernot Rohr right there, and he talked about the selection. And before the game, there was a bit of selection headache, and I would heard the rumors between himself and the NFF. But I hope that is all resolved now. Now let's go over to the Nigerian Professional Football League. There are rescheduled games that will be coming up later today. Enyimba will battle Nasarawa United. Rangers International will be up against Sunshine Stars, and Aqua United will be up against Abia Warriors. Now looking at the Nigerian Professional Football League. We've had 2 weekends of interesting football, but how would you want to assess the NPFL so far since it started? Without TV broadcast, without sponsorship, and there's a particular coach who is speaking of the VAR being introduced in the league.
Let's start from the coach. You know, of course, we want to see technology introduced, just as we're seeing already in other climes. But the truth is, right now, with certain financial challenges that we are seeing with regards to the league, it's going to be difficult to introduce the VAR. Very, very difficult. We don't have the platform. We really have not dealt with the credibility of our referees as much as we should. And that in itself will also put a question on the credibility on the use of technology, not just VAR, on technology, because we also have to consider goal line technology as well. Yeah. So it's going to be a question mark on the credibility of the use of technology if we do not address the credibility of referees. Now, from the league itself, fine, we're back in play, but truth be told, we need to be able to measure the interest of many Nigerians, you know, towards the league, given the fact that we've been off air and we've been out of play for quite some time. True. And that is disheartening. You know, I know when the momentum was up, when SuperSport still had the rights, we could tell, you know, from social media engagement that people were watching, even though people were not impressed with the quality of play, the quality of coverage in a lot of regards, you know, but people were watching. People were thronging down to stadiums to see these games, but now that's not the case. True. There's a lot of interest. If we want to look at it from the periphery, there's a lot of interest. But if we actually want to drill down to audience measurement, you know, attendance, then there's a lot of concern because the game is built around 2 key players: the football athletes themselves and fans. And if you don't have that synergy of relationship between the football players and the fans, then what league are we talking about?
Very sad right there. And still talking about the Nigerian Professional Football League. Well, we got an announcement yesterday from the LMC, that's the league management company, that they have sealed a 5-year multi-million naira deal with a digital TV company and on the production of the Nigerian Professional Football League content for both local and international markets. Now, we're hearing that they're aiming to, the 5-year deal is they're aiming to produce $200 million within the next 5 years, which was consummated yesterday in Abuja between the LMC chairman, Shehu Diko, the chairman of Next TV Digital Print, Ado Ibrahim, and of course, Olaiwola Onofowokon. And Diko lauded the partnership by noting that it is only Nigerians that redeem the country. He also said the technicality of the deal will produce an NPFL content which can be distributed to more than 20 million Nigerians in diaspora. On paper, this is a good deal. It's supposed to showcase the MPFL to the world. But are we ready for this?
On paper, it's not a good deal.
Wow.
It's not the best of deals at all. It's not.
But it's something to start with.
It's nothing to even consider.
Okay.
Honestly speaking, I won't want to go into certain details, but let me just hint at this. To start with, this is more or less a giveaway, just like the previous deal with the initial broadcaster. It's like a giveaway. There was no bidding process. There was no call of interest from broadcast players. So where do we start from? As in the multi-million naira or multi-million dollars, whichever currency they choose to want to measure the value, it's even chicken feed, so to speak, to if we had a more competitive structure around the league. So we're not even getting the best of the valuation of the league per se, and that is a huge concern as regards the broadcast rights and broadcast value of the league. So it's more or less an attempt, so to speak, to keep people from making noise about not having the league on TV than really pursuing a process that would guarantee that we see the emergence of rights bidders that would look at the value of the EPL alone.
Exactly.
Domestically, that's domestically, let alone international rights. You know, the value is not similar. For the home league, for the domestic market, it's huge based on the competitive bidding. Now, if we introduce bidding into our process, we know, okay, this person might come and say, I want to drop 500 million naira. The next person comes and say, no, it's 1 billion naira. That would actually say, oh, this person wants to drop 1 billion naira. Let me actually do something, take it out of the league of the competition. You know, and that way we can actually begin to say, oh, okay, we have the key elements that would ensure that clubs get something coming to them from the broadcast rights, you know, that we're actually going to be putting on paper. So it's really more or less as in a giveaway of our league to unknown group of persons or company, you know, that doesn't guarantee that many Nigerians, at least a significant number in the population, will get to see the league. It's not guaranteed.
You know, why I said it's something to start with is because at least at the point that we are in the MPFL, we can grab anything that we can lay our hands on because there's no sponsorship in the league and we don't have TV coverage. Now we have this kind of sponsorship, or rather the deal come into play. The league will get to see this on TV. We don't know which of these channels now, but we will get to see it. But on the part of the football clubs and the fans and whichever arena they will be playing at, it will help the fans comport themselves because we know that we can see these games on TV. Violence will be reduced a bit. I'm not saying it will be totally taken out of the league, but it will be reduced. We'll also see more of TV coverage. We'll see these players, because most of the coaches are saying that the reason why these players cannot get to perform or rather feature in the Super League is because the league is not functional. And we can testify with the way they performed at the CHAN competition. It was woeful because we used more of the home-based players and they had nothing we had nothing to write home about because the performance was poor. So I think this deal would help us bring the league to light and the world can actually see what we're doing in the country. Then we can better the performance of our local league. Okay,
so here's the thing, because like you mentioned, what TV are we going to have this on? We don't know the platform.
True.
And if they're saying digital, you know, digital broadcast, the question is how many Nigerians really do view sports generally via digital broadcasting? That number we don't even have, we don't know. So it's even a problem for brands who want to indicate interest for sponsorship, you know, because you cannot measure the eyeballs for a game, let alone the entire season of the league. So that in itself is a challenge, because if you cannot guarantee that this supposed broadcaster is going to be on this platform that people can at least relate with, that, oh, say they are on Star Time, say they are on DSTV, say they are on GoTV, you know, whichever platform, then that in itself is a problem. The question is, where do they go to? Are we going to see an introduction of another platform? You know, and will people, we know what happened with another home African-based broadcast company, you know, Kwesi, you know, suddenly they're out of the market Because there's a whole lot of dynamics in play, you know, when it comes to these things. And if things are not gotten right, then it is already set to fail. This is not a matter of seeing a bad light about everything happening. But it's a case of, if we're not getting things done the right way, then we're already setting ourselves for failure. And that is terrible.
We just hope that eventually things are done right in the Nigerian Professional Football League, and of course with the LMC, the league management company, to help the league to be run better. But let's switch over to Europe and talk about the former Arsenal manager, Arsene Wenger. He's returning to the game of football, but present now as FIFA's new chief of global football development. And the former Arsenal manager accepted FIFA's offer more than 2 months after it was first reported, and 1 week after he was approached by Bayern Munich about the German champions' vacant head coach job. He will oversee the rules-making panel known as IFAB, coaching programs and technical analysis of games at FIFA tournaments. And the 70-year-old Frenchman effectively replaces Marco van Basten, who was FIFA technical director until October 2018. Arsene Wenger, rumors from left, right, and center. At first, he was supposed to be PSG sports director. They wanted him to go over to Juventus. They wanted him to be the manager at Bayern Munich. I think this is a way better opportunity for him to accept than taking up a coaching role. Because going over to Bayern Munich, I do not think he has, though he's a very, very good manager, but I think he has done too much for football to still remain a coach. So I believe this is the best place for him to be.
Honestly, you know, even talks of Bayern Munich, PSG, right now we can only consider them as being speculative. Because I'd seen the story about Arsene Wenger assuming this position over 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's even surprising that it's actually coming this late.
Yeah.
The announcement is coming this late. So perhaps maybe, yes, it could give some light to the fact that he was considering other options and opportunities. But that said, Arsene Wenger is way better an option than even Marco van Basten. There's nothing to throw Van Basten, you know, as regards what he's introduced to football. And its development. But Arsene Wenger, English Premier League owe a lot to him. You know, for instance, the kind of diet he introduced Arsenal players to when he joined the team, how he reduced their travel time. You know, they stopped using buses, stopped using trains, started flying certain distances. You know, and the use of certain technical equipment. You know, for training. Now, these are things that even other clubs began to emulate, and they began to see the results. So it's really key to see, and it really is good and applaudable that we have someone in the person of Arsene Wenger holding up to this position. So the football stands to gain a lot more from this man. And truth be told, we will see a lot. Like seeing the fact that he will be in charge of IFAB. Now that is a very important institution within football community. So it's really is important that Arsene Wenger is the one that is to head that position.
All right, congratulations once again to Arsene Wenger for taking up that position, and I will see how effective he will be. I'm very sure he will do a good job in that one. And to Bayern